Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. I'll be showing you how to make this two-piece high-low top and a pant. So I'll be using 3.5 yards of light crepe and a zip to match. The zipper will be on the pants by the side. So on your pattern paper, from your start line at the top, you come down 3 inches. So you mark 3 inches and then you use your straight ruler and then you draw a straight line, you square across. Then from the side, that's the side facing you, you mark 3 inches also. So you mark 3 inches from the top to bottom, and then you use your ruler and then draw a straight line as well. So after that, the next thing is to mark your waist to hip to knee line. You mark it on both sides, and then after your waist to knee line, then you mark your waist to ankle. If you want it to get to the floor, you mark your waist to the floor. So after doing that, you use your ruler, your short or long ruler, to draw a straight line. You just need those lines. That line will be my ankle line, and then the other one will be my knee line. So after doing that, you now want to get a crotch line. So the crotch line is your hip. That's the crotch is your body rise. Your hip divide by 4. So what you have, you mark it from the top of your paper. That's the waistline. You mark it and then you draw a straight line. Use your ruler to draw a straight line. So what you have, mine was 40, and then 40 divided by 2 by 4 will give me 10, so I mark 10. And then on the waistline, you mark that same measurement. That crotch divide your hip divided by 4, that same 10, you mark it, and then you mark it on the crotch line. Then you draw a straight line. So that straight line you draw will be your center front. So we need the center front for the pants. Okay, so I'll go over it again. Your crotch line is your hip divided by 4. Okay, then you come up from the crotch line and then you come up 2 inches. That 2 inches will be your hip line. So the hip line is where we'll be placing our hip measurement, and then the crotch line as well. Okay, so the hip line, you come up 2 inches and then you use your ruler to draw a straight line. Now to get a front crotch extension, now you divide your hip by 20. What I got was 2.15. So after that, you come out on your hip measurement, on your hip line, you come up 0.25, and then with a curve, your French curve, you connect it, so touching the extension and then the 0.25, then on back to your straight line, to your center front line, and then you mark your waist measurement. Okay, so your waist divide by 4. Whatever you have, you add 1 inch allowance. So mine is 8 plus 1 inch allowance, 9. So you divide it by you place it, and then you divide that line into 2. Then you draw your dart leg. So your dart leg, the length of the dart is 5 inches. So that's for the front, right? Okay, then you now open your dart legs 0.25 0.5 on both sides. That's half inches to make up your 1 inches. Remember, we added 1 inches to our waist measurement. Okay, so that 1 inches is for that. So that is what you're marking, right? So once you do that, you now measure, connect from your waist to the hip line. Okay, you remember that our hip line, and then from the hip line we already have the line is already connected to our crotch line. Okay, so now what I'm doing is to measure from my side hip to my crotch extension. I measured it and I folded my tape into 2, just to get what it means is just divide that line, your side hip to your crotch extension, your side crotch to your crotch extension, divide by 2. What you have, you mark it on your knee line. That's from the straight line on the side. Mark it on your knee line, then you mark it on your hem line. So we need a straight line. So that straight line will help us get the measurement of our knee and ankle circumference, right? So you, after placing the measurement, you use your straight ruler to connect, draw a straight line. So it is the straight line that will enable you place your measurement. So after doing that, the next thing is to place your knee measurement. So your knee circumference, remember to measure your knee circumference. You measure your knee circumference, divide by 4. What you have, you place the measurement on both sides. So mine is 20. So I marked 5 on both sides. Okay, then you go to the hem also, you mark your knee circumference 5 on both sides. So I use the same measurement for my hip and my hem line. Okay, so I want the same, but if you want to pencil, be sure to mark your hip, your ankle measurement. Okay, and then if you want a palazzo, be sure to extend that part. So whatever you're doing, just do that. So now you connect from your crotch extension to your knee line. So I'm using my pant curve. This is a pant curve. It is sold in the market. So you use it to connect from your crotch extension just to give you that shape. It's not a straight line, it's a bit slanting. But if you don't have this ruler, what you need to do is just to draw a straight line from your pant extension to your knee line. Then you divide the line into two, then you come in 0.25, then you connect from the 0.25 to your extension back to your knee. That will give you the curve that you need for that part. Okay, so we are almost done with the front measurement. So what you to do now is to connect from the crotch back to our knee. That's the knee, our knee circumference, we divided it into four. Okay, so the 5 I marked by the side, I'll connect from my crotch line by the side. I'll connect it to my knee, and then on my waistline I'll come down from the center front. I'll come down 0.5, that's half inch, and then you just connect with a ruler from the that to that 0.5. So that will give you a slanty waistline. So the next thing is to draft the back. That's pretty much all for the front, right? So the next thing is to do the back. So the back, on your center front line, you come in 1 inch on line. Okay, that's the center front line. You come in 1 inch on the crotch line. So after that, you now go to the waistline and then you mark 1.5 inches. So once you mark 1.5 inches, you, with a ruler, you draw a line. So we are drawing is the center back line. We are creating the center back line. So this is where our center back measurement will start from. That's the waist and the hip and then the crotch line. Okay, so they are not meant to be on the same line. The front and the back are not meant to be on the same line. Okay, so on the top of the center back, you come up 1.5, that's 1.5 inch. Okay, and then you label that line the straight line center back, right? Then from that 1.5 inch on the top of your waist, you mark your waist measurement plus hip towards the side on the same line with the front waist. Okay, and then once you do that, on the crotch line, that 1 inch will come in, you replace it back on the side, so we'll still have our measurement. Remember, we came in 1 inch. Okay, on the crotch line, you do that on the hip line, on the crotch line, on the side, and then you repeat it on the hip line. Then from our waist measurement, you connect to the hip line and then connect it back to the crotch line. Right, I believe this is clear. At this point, if you've not subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment if you're value from this simple pant tutorial. Okay, so you just connect from the top to the side to mark your waistline. So this will give you your back waistline. Okay, so then you divide the line, measure the line and divide it into two again, like we did to the front. You get the middle and then you mark your 1 inch. That, remember, we added the 1 inch to the measurement. And then the back that leg is 5.5, the front is 5 inches, the dart length for the back is 5.5, and then you mark and then you open your dart leg by 0.5 on both sides to give you 1 inches, right? So after that, you use your ruler, you draw your dart leg. You can see that this pant tutorial is quite simple. It's one of the simplest pant tutorial you can ever see anywhere, because if you're able to follow through, you will discover that it's very simple, right? So on the center back, the back crotch extension, the front we divided by 20, the back will be dividing by 10. So you divide your hip by 10. Whatever you have, you place it from your center back line. Remember, the center back and the front are not on the same line. So this, our new center back line, that's where we'll mark our crotch line. And then, like we did to the front, you come out on the hip line on the center back 0.25, and then with your French curve, you connect it. So you can see I use a different marker pen, so you'll be able to differentiate. The black is the back, while the blue is the front. So you carefully use your French curve to connect from the crotch extension to the hip line and then towards the center back, and then with your pant curve, you connect from the crotch extension to the knee line. So the knee line will be on the same knee line with the back, so we'll have the same knee line with the front and the back, right? So that's the front and then that's the back. Okay, so the same knee line, you connect it, but you're not adding anything to the knee line. Okay, then on the side, you now connect from your crotch line to your knee line also on the side. So if you want a pant to be free, if you want to add more measure, you can add a little, like half inch, okay, on the side. But if you're working with your measurement, accurate measurement, just do like I'm doing. I connected from the side to the knee line, okay. So on both sides I didn't add anything, okay. So you have it equal. After that, you trace out, all right. So that is pretty much about the back. So the back is quite simple. Once you get the front straight, you don't need to waste time on the back. So you need your tracing wheel, and then you trace the front. Place your pattern paper. Please make sure your pattern paper aligns, that is matching up, okay. And then use your tracing wheel to trace it. We remember we have the same knee on the same measurement on the knee and on the back, hemline for the front and the back, okay. So there's no difference. Then after which you have to trace. So once you trace your front, you use your ruler to you use your pencil to draw the line so it doesn't clean up. Don't trace back and front separately before tracing. So trace one, and then you draw the line. So you can see I've added seam allowance 0.5 on the side, on the waist, and then on the side, that's where the hip is. The hip side I added 1 inch, right, while the other part that needs joining the body, right, that's the crotch line and the seam line, I used 0.5, okay. So after that, I took my paper again, and then I placed it, and I'm tracing the back, okay. So I use the same pattern paper, I just turn it the other way, so I don't need to waste too much paper, right. And then you use your pin to pin the paper down so it doesn't move while tracing. Then I will trace the black line. The black line is the back, right. Okay, so I will use my tracing wheel now, and then I will trace. All right, so you go ahead and trace like I'm doing right now. And after tracing, you draw out your lines, and then you add your seam allowance. On the hemline, I added inches for folding, okay. So you take out your pins and then draw the lines after tracing. I then added seam allowance also. Added seam allowance, the same seam allowance I added to the front. That's what I did to the back. Okay, the side has 1 inch, and then the inseam, the part that has joining, has half inch. So now this is the front. I've drawn the line, that's the top, okay. So shoulder to waist, shoulder to bust line, shoulder to waist, and then shoulder to hip, okay. So the length of this top is 26, okay. So I went ahead to mark my bust, shoulder measurement, my waist measurement, and my hip measurement. So I added, so because it's not a fitted dress, on my bust line I added 5 inches to my original measurement. The waistline I added 4 inches, and the hip line I added 4 inch. I added 3 inches, okay. So whatever your measurement is, you can add to it before dividing by 4. Don't divide by 4 before adding 2 or 3 inches, it will be too big. So I'll place my shoulder measurement, and then come down on my shoulder slope 1.5 for the front, and then the neck width is 5. I use 3.5 because there's no zip part. I won't be attaching zip, okay. And then on the neckline I came down 5 inches, okay. So I want the neck to be such that it will be easy for me to put on, right. Okay, so after that I'll mark my shoulder measurement on my bust line. I need a straight line. I want to draw out my curve, armhole curve. So I'll connect with a straight line, and then I'll up 2 inches or 1.5 inches, and I will come in 0.5 with my curve. I will connect it just to draw out my armhole, okay. So that will give me the armhole for the front, right. So after drawing the armhole, the next thing is to go straight to the back, because we are almost done with the front, just to cover out the designs, right. So the next thing is to your measurement on your back. The first thing is to mark your zip allowance, okay. There's a slit at the back, so we need a zip allowance even though we are not fixing a zip. Okay, mark your 1 inch at the center back, and then with your straight ruler you draw the line to giving you your zip allowance. Then from the zip allowance line, that's the center back, you mark your shoulder measurement, you mark your bust measurement, and then the shoulder measurement you place it on the bust line just like we did. And then the width of the back is 3.5 like the front, while the back is also 1 inch. But you can come down the way you want, okay. for the back, especially when you're not putting on zip. So the shoulder slope is 1 inch, right? So after that, you mark that eight the shoulder measurement on the bust line, and then you come in, you divide the line, the slope from the slope to the bust line, divide the line into two, and then you come in 1/2 inch. You can see that the shoulder slope, the curve, armhole curve, is different from the front. On the front, we came up 1.5, okay, while the back is half. All right, so after doing that, next thing is to impute your waist measurement and your hip measurement. So use the same measurement. Now you remember whatever it is, whatever amount of allowance you added, okay, that is what you add to the back. So both should be the same, all right? So I'm curving out my armhole using a French curve, and then from the bust line, I'll connect to the waistline, and then from the waistline to the hip line. So now once we are done with the actual measurement, so the next thing is to carve out our design. So on the side hip line, I came down 1/2 inch. That's the front. Now we are working with the front, right? So I came down 1/2 inch. So now from that 1/2 inch now, I've not marking the neck width, okay. I didn't curve it out at the other time when I measured it, okay. So after doing that, the next thing is to, so from my waistline, I came down 2 inches. I came down 2 inches from my waistline. Now I don't want it to be too low, okay, I don't want it to be too high, okay. I don't want it to be too cropped up, like, for me, okay. So I don't want my tummy or anything to show. That's why I came in 2 inches. So some actually you can use your waist measurement. From your waist you can curve it, okay. So from that part, I curve it to the side, okay. I used a dotted line before drawing it out, okay. Then on my back line, I extended the zip allowance down, because the back is higher, okay. So it's a high low, so the high is at the back, okay. So from my hip line, remember my measurement is already 26, it's already long enough. I now measured 8 inch extra, added 8 inches to the back, okay. And then that 1/2 inch I added at this side of the front, I will do the same thing to the side of the back. Remember, whatever you do to the side, you have to do to the side of both sides, so that both are going to match up, okay. Remember, we are going to hold both sides. And then on my waistline, on the center back, I came down 3 inches. So that 3 inches is where my slit is going to start from, okay. So I want the slit to start from that part 3 inches below my waistline. I don't want my waistline of the pants to show, right? So after doing that, I also measured the 8 inches down, and then I drew a straight line. So I just want to have that straight line to be able to guide me in curving the back, okay. So and then on the center back, I came in 1/2 inches. So remember, it's a slit, so the slit is not straight, all right. So from that 3 inches below my waistline, I connected it back to the 1/2 inch on my new line, okay. So that will just make the back slanty, so that the slit is not going to be straight, it is going to be slanty. So it's from that slanty line on the hem I'm going to start drawing out my curve. So I'm also using a pencil to draw a dotted line. So once I'm satisfied with what I have, I can use a marker pen to make it bold, right? So you try, you erase, you draw, erase until you get what you want. You don't need to that is why you should use a dotted line, okay. So I'm just trying it, okay. So I'm just trying what I have. So from the hemline, I came in 3 inches. So it's from that 3 inches I started curving it to the 1/2 inch on the side, okay. We came that 1/2 inch on our initial hemline, okay. So after getting the lines I want, once I'm satisfied, I now decide to trace it out, okay. So I return back to the front. I think I'm okay with what I have, and then I just, so at this point, make sure you just curve it the way you want, and then you go high and low. If you don't want your tummy to show, if you want it to be cropped up, then you go higher, okay. But mine is okay. I don't want to show any part of my tummy, all right. Okay, so that is pretty all about the top, okay, the high low. So the next thing is to add your seam allowance. So I added 1 inch on the this thing. I just so that when I fold, everything is going to align. So on the side I added 1 inch also, while the armhole and the shoulder, the neckline is half inch, sorry. Okay, so after doing that, that's for the front. You do the same thing to the back. Okay, the back side, the side back will have 1 inch, and then the hemline will have 1 inch, and then the armhole will have 1 inch. Remember our center back is already, there is 1 inch already, but because we there is a slant line at the hem, we are going to remeasure the parts that is slant. We are going to remeasure our 1 inch allowance from that slanty part, so that it will be equal, so that the line is going to be straight, so we won't have more at the bottom. Okay, remember we are working with half 1 inch seam allowance at the back. We're going to fold it into to be able to get the slit right. So from that half inch, I will just measure my 1 inch, then to the 3 inches where our slit started from. Okay, so and then I'll redraw. I'll use my ruler, and then I'll redraw it back, so I'll have equal 1 inch from the top to the bottom, right? So that is all, guys, about the drafting of this pants of the top. Okay, the high low. So the next thing is to cut, and then I came down the neckline. I came in, I marked from the top 3 inches from the shoulder line. So because there is no zip, I decided to come down. Okay, and then I added my 0.5 seam allowance. So after doing that, the next thing is to cut out. Okay, so you mark your seam allowance, and then you cut, and then you place your fabric and cut your fabric. So that is it, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Okay, if you're getting any value, and if you want me to illustrate any style, to do any tutorial on any style, feel free to drop a comment on my Instagram or with Facebook. Okay, so the next thing is to cut out, and then you place your fabric, your paper on your fabric. So this is my pattern pieces. This is my pants, that's the back, and then the front, and then the dart. I'm going to notch the dart. No, we are placing it on our fabric. We notch the dart so that we'll be able to chalk it and then pick it and sew, like so. We'll be able to pick that part, that point where the dart ends, and then you sew it accurately, right? So after that, so that is for the back, and then this is the front. This is the front top, and then the back top. So the next thing is to place on your fabric. I did that behind the camera. And the next thing is to join. So if you know how to cut a pants, to join a pants, just go ahead and do so, right? And then the sewing also, I will join the side together. I use my facing to turn the neckline, and then the neckline for the back and the front. Okay, and then you join the side, and that is it, guys. So you sew the darts for the front and then the back. Remember to use your chalk to chalk the point where the dart is, so it will be easy for you to identify. And then the waistline, you notch the dart, the center line of the dart, so it will be easy for you to hold half inch on both sides. So you do the same thing to the back, right? And then after which you sew the crotch line separately. You sew the front crotch line separately, and then the back crotch line separately. You know, they are all two pieces together, and then you join. Okay, so after joining them, you can now join the side. Okay, and then this is the top. I went ahead, like I said, I sew the side, and then I overlock the hem. So after overlocking, and then I'll fold it on, so it will be easy for me to fold. That is why I had to overlock it. No, it's not a straight line, so it won't be smooth, especially the center front. So you need to overlock, and then I overlock the side, and then I stopped at the zip, the where my slit will start. So I overlocked the center back, and then I stopped exactly where my slit is going to stop, and then that is where I'll start folding it from. Okay, like I said before, I use facing, okay, to turn the neckline, and then I'll fold it once. After overlocking, I use a matching thread, and I'll fold it once. Once after folding, then you can now go ahead and then iron, right? So I'll also fold in the slit at the back. Okay, and then you fold the hem. So that is why I overlock, so that the folding will be easy, since it's not on a straight line. Okay, so I went ahead to sew the dart, and then I sew the crotch line back and the front, and then I join the crotch, the back and the front crotch together. I sew the side, that's the inseam. Okay, and then I sew the side, the 1 inch, and then I attach the zip at one side of the hip. So the zip is by the side. I don't like my zip at the center back. I really do not like it. My pant zip is always by the side, or I'll do a fly front. Okay, so because I don't want to do a fly front, I attach the zip and then by the side, and then I use my band. I attach my band. My band is 2 inches, so I actually didn't come down my waistline and attach a 2 inch band, and then I will sew the hem of the trouser. I've added 2 inches, and then I'll sew 2 inches out. Okay, so for the band, after sewing it, the top, and then I also sew the sleeve. I folded the hem, and then that is it about it. So the band, I added 2 inch band so that it will still be high, and then my tummy will not show. I know it's not going to show, but I don't want it to show at all. So this is it, guys. Thank you for watching.